This is the fourth version of our network scanner program in Python using the Scapy module or the Scapy module or whatever you want to call it. Let's take a look at how this program runs and just start from the beginning of it. We start with defining all these functions. We go down to main. Since we're running this program directly, we go up to the main function. We let everybody know this is the network scanner 4. This is my network address range at home. You would change this to whatever your network address is at home. But you can always put in another address. This is kind of something I discovered, I don't remember, a year or so ago, that when you have input, you can do an OR and put in a default name, put in a default value, or type in what you want. Well, we're going to call the scan function. So far, none of this is a lot different than what we've done. So we go up to our scan function. We pass in our IP address range. We say scanning to let people know. We've done this before. This is not new. Our destination is this range. We are putting together a broadcast packet, an ARP request packet. We're Scapying them together, the Scapy operator. So we have an ARP broadcast. Now we're doing things a little bit different this time. We're doing this the same. We're timing out of 2. When we get the request, we're going to turn the verbose to false. We really don't need to see all that stuff going on. We just want the answer. If we do this, we are only, remember before we had the answered and the unanswered list? 0 returns only the answered list, because SRP returns 2 lists, answered and unanswered. Answered would be 1. We don't want that. We just want the first one. So now we've gotten rid of a lot of feedback we don't need. We're going to print a nice little heading here with some tab keys and things. Like we did before, we are going to go through each element in this answered list, print out the source, right? The IP source of the information coming back, of the answer, and the hardware source. And that'll give us a nice little IP address to hardware address MAC scan of our network. Let's see what happens. I'm going to press enter to scan my network. There we are, scanning, and it came back pretty quick. There's our IP address. There's our MAC address. Now, if you want some challenges to spiff up your network scanner a little bit, you can use the socket.getHostByAddress function to resolve the host names. It does take a little bit longer because I'm not using any threading, but what it's trying to do is resolve this host name to this IP address to a host name. Well, not everybody's going to have a host name that can be recognized, but that's one option to make this a little fancier. Oh, here's a fun one I added in. We can do a MAC vendor lookup. We do need to install the MAC vendor lookup library. So I'm going to copy that. pip install mac-vendor-lookup. So add that in here. Let's get that library on its way. And there it is. It adds a whole bunch of stuff. That's fine. Now we have that. When we do this, one of the first things we have to do is use this to look up, or nope, here it is. We have to update our MAC vendors list. I'm changed this to object-oriented programming. So this is the MAC lookup class. I'm creating a MAC instance object. The first time, use once in a while to update that to get the vendors list. How I'm using that is, let's see here. It's coming around here. There it is. As I'm going through each element in the answered list, I'm pulling out the address, MAC address, which that's easy to do. There it is, element 1. even though this is the first list of this in our MAC address elements, it is the second item or the first of the hardware address. Then you do self.mac.lookup of the MAC address. That gives us the company. And I add it to my host dictionary. I add it to the list. And I think I did this so I could sort it maybe. I can't remember why I did that. Regardless, it looks like this. If I didn't give you enough to figure it out, well, I gave you some of it anyway. So we press enter. And it does have to look up, it does have to update the MAC address list the first time around. And now we're scanning our network. And there is our MAC address companies. There it is.